close us out a little bit, let's bring it back to Violent Life, the podcast, and I want to know I want to give you the opportunity, Damien, to talk about the future of Violent Life. Amanda, your future involvement. Just you guys together. Tell me what do we have to expect? What do we have to look forward to? And I know you just started. We'll get to it, but you just started a Patreon, Damien. I'd love to give you the opportunity to talk about that.
We've got certain goals on our Patreon, and one of my biggest things, and this is just a personal thing because there's nothing against anybody that doesn't, but I didn't want to gate off any audio content for the show. I wanted it always to be out there and always available. So I made milestones, and I set different kind of reward tiers for some physical swag. But the milestones are things that we want to do. We want to do, but I have to be able to dedicate the writing time and get people in, and to do that, need to be able to pay people.
Right.
So the $100 mark sees a monthly episode of Redmond-born, which is I'm very much looking forward to, actually. The I think $250 mark sees an actual crossover between your upcoming actual play and Violent Life, in the fact that it'll explore the backstory of Payday and his sidekick and best friend Eon, who Amanda voices Eon for the terms.
She is so fun.
for promotional stuff, and I've got my eyes on a voice actor that I'd love to have to play Payday. So that could be a very interesting thing. Then we're moving on to, I believe at the 500 mark, I would open up, and these are all kind of mini-series. The Payday and Eon thing, I think, was a 4 or 5 episode. The next one would be Lucid Dream, and it's all about a ex-Yakuza assassin. And it's going to be kind of ultra-violent, but really kind of cool, and definitely different ground for us to take.
Yeah.
And she's kind of struggling with, she's kind of essentially a cyber ninja, really. So she's struggling with her loss of humanity and her trying to get out from under the Yakuza. And then finally, after that, for the big one, the one that I'm sure we'll never get to, but if we ever do,
don't say that.
It'll be amazing. It's going to be a mini-series actually exploring the roots of Vendetta Violent. We're going to come all the way back to Vendetta Violent and Riot Blue. And not only are we going to kind of get into all of what kind of built up around the original Shadow blogs and everything that kind of came through that, but we are actually going to put out some music. Amanda,
as you can tell, I'm so geeked for this one.
Amanda sings
some actual like Vendetta Violent music.
Yeah. Amanda,
I'm so geeked to sing.
Amanda does some singing, and Cliff is from the Arcology podcast. Prism Shard has actually put himself out there to do some music for it. So,
oh wow, that sounds. I am right? Excited about that.
Right.
So I think everybody who's listening here needs to go over there to Damien's Patreon, Violent Life, and get us some awesome Vendetta Violent music.
So it's all kind of cool long-term stuff, and one of the things that I always thought to do was when we hit these milestones, of course, it doesn't stop at the mini-series. Like occasionally there might be a special, kind of like the Striking Shadow special that comes out, continuing to reward that milestone. A lot of writing, but I'm kind of space it out. So I might not be dropping multiple scripts in a month, but we will keep a regular release schedule for the milestone.
Right.
Stuff.
I'm so entertained by the Riot Blue stuff. I don't know if maybe you had this in the back of your mind before we even started talking about it, but I do remember early on we were talking about the background of the character, and I had like just accepted the gig, and I went, oh, this may or may not come up because she's a rock star, but I also sing. Do you want some samples? And Damien was like, yes. And so now it's grown from there, and I sort of accidentally mentioned the potential long-term future plan to do a song on the Arcology podcast when they interviewed us, and kind of put Damien in a corner on that one. I did not feel bad though.
I remember
excited about it. So
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff on the horizon, and as we do that, the Shadowcast from Vendetta Violent will continue, the Redmond Born will continue, and the informationals will continue. So,
I'm looking forward to all that. I really want the music. That would be great. Um, so something that I just thought of that is kind of shifting gears back a little bit, but I have to ask before we adjourn, so to speak, is Amanda, you're playing a you're playing a character that is in the Sixth World in the Shadowrun universe. What kind of experience do you have with Shadowrun?
Very little, unfortunately. Interestingly, my husband is addicted to Shadowrun. So
Yeah.
I've been aware of it for years because he plays a lot. Actually, this is really, really funny. We went to Origins, and my husband goes to Origins religiously every year with his friends. His schedule at Origins, every day, 5 days schedule of just Shadowrun after Shadowrun after Shadowrun with like barely breaks in between to eat. And he describes himself as a Shadowrun camel. He says he's filling up for the year. I've been trying to get us to start. I've been trying to get us to start a campaign here so that I can get some more experience, and B, so that he doesn't have to, act like a crazy. So, but I love cyberpunk. I love the whole aesthetic and the whole concept of cyberpunk, and I like the specific flavor of cyberpunk that you get in Shadowrun, where you're melding those elements of fantasy and cyberpunk together. And I think the lore of the fourth, fifth, and then sixth world, where you have magic and then it went away, and then you had technology and then a resurgence of magic, just raises all these amazing questions and gives you this like never-ending well of material to explore in writing. Like, why did the magic come back, and where, and what's the point? Like, it brings up all these amazing questions. So I love it. But I would be more interested in like reading books in the expanded universe perhaps than playing a tabletop game. And I like the video game too, so I might go back and play some of the older video games.
Well, there is certainly no dearth of books in the Shadowrun universe. So,
Yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining me and
Thank you.
And talking to me. No. It was great meeting you, Amanda. Damien, you and I are friends already.
Are now well acquainted.
Always great to talk to you.
It's great to meet you as well.
One more time before we go, tell everybody where we can find Amanda and Damien and the stuff that they do.
All right. www.violentlifepodcast.com is where you'd find us. You can also find us on Twitter at myviolentlife, and we're on Facebook too. Should be easily searchable there. And Amanda's got her own Twitter and her own webpage.
Oh, yes, I do. I'm constantly updating my portfolio right now. It's very Vendetta Violent heavy. I'm at amandacmilstein.com, and my Twitter is, I think, acmilstein. I have to look at that. I believe that's what it is. But I'm on the Violent Life one a lot. We talk on Twitter a lot.
All right. Well, that's really great. Like I said, thank you guys for joining me, and from me and from everybody else, bye-bye.
Thanks.
See you in the shadows.